Amelita Vasilova, World Sport Presents Journey of the Gay Athlete begins right now.
An athlete's most difficult journey doesn't always take place on the field.
Footballer Justin Fashanu suffered abuse after coming out in 1990. He committed suicide 8 years later. Orlando Cruz is one of the best featherweight boxers in the world. He's the first openly gay boxer in the sport's history.
NBA center Jason Collins today became the first active player in a major American team sport to come out publicly.
A former NFL player is coming out of the closet. We're talking about Quaim Harris.
England cricketer Stephen Davis took a bold step. He announced he was gay.
Former Germany international Thomas Hitzelsberger came out this week as gay.
From the pitch to the court, some of sport's most courageous athletes tell their stories.
There's no wrong or right way of coming out. This is my life, and this is something that's very personal to me. So anything that I do, I'm going to do because I want to.
You have that spotlight. You have that voice. You might as well use it, for something good.
I like to think, or hope to think, that my part in sharing my story is letting people see that there are gay people in sport. What I'd like to see is a change, and I guess if I'm that change, so be it.
World Sports presents Journey of the Gay Athlete.
My name is Robbie Rogers. I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I'm a soccer player, play for the Los Angeles Galaxy. I'm the middle child of my family. I have two older sisters, a younger sister and a younger brother. All very close, but growing up we were just like causing trouble with each other and picking on each other. But I think that's normal in a big family. My sisters played football when I was really young. So, I said I started playing when I was 5, but my mom and dad would probably say I started even before then. I was 3 and 4 out in the field, just watching them kicking the ball around. And so I've always just played. And then probably around 14 or 15 was when I realized, maybe go to college and get a scholarship, or how amazing it would be to be professional. But I thought, okay, I'm decent at this, and, I love it. So I'm going to try to, go for it. And that's when I started playing probably every day with, a club team. And then when I was 15 or 16, I actually started training with the Galaxy. That was kind of my first taste of professional soccer. High school for me was fun, but obviously holding something like that in where you're different than people and you're afraid to tell them, you can't quite enjoy everything. You can't take in all the emotion that you should as a teenager. So there was times where I really enjoyed high school, and there was times I was miserable. I was trying to think of when was the first time I realized I was gay. I would say for sure I knew I was when I was about 13, 14. But I realized, thinking back in my past, that I was always very sensitive to the word, homo, fag, gay, anything like that. It really turned me the wrong way, and I always knew it was an offensive word, and I just didn't like that word. So I must have known when I was younger than that. I must have known when I was really young. But I would say 8th grade, 9th grade is when I really realized okay, this is gonna be tough. Even before high school level, I always heard homophobic things in locker rooms, on soccer fields, before training, after training, whether it was joking or whether it was malicious. I just heard so many different things that scarred me and made me think that there's no chance I'm ever gonna come out, ever, to anyone. So that's probably why, again, I kept it in for so long, and that's why I didn't tell anyone. Not very many gay men or women around me growing up. Subconsciously, I always wanted to be a bit farther from my family. Just there was no questions. Even though I wasn't dating anyone, or I wasn't going out to those kind of clubs, I subconsciously thought that if I was away, it'd be easier. So I went to University of Maryland, I played in Holland, Columbus, London. Realizing I was gay didn't mess with anything that I was doing at the time. So that's obviously why, another reason why I just really kept it in. It was because of soccer, because of where I was going to school, because of where I was from, because of, our religion, because of just so many different reasons. So that was tough. My overcompensation was probably always just trying to be nice to people, and always trying to get everyone to like me and to be, the nice guy, and it was tough for me to get really close with people because a lot of times I would just like would rather not spend time with people, not go to dinner with people, not go to a bar with people, just because I was like, oh, I don't want to have to avoid questions. When I was 23, I started to really think about it a lot, like, okay, I'm miserable, I need to do something, like, I'm not enjoying this. Like, I wasn't really enjoying soccer at the time because I was so miserable off the field. But so probably like when I was like 23, 24, I was like, I need to do something, That's when I moved to England. When I moved to London, it was actually kind of when I really like found myself. And I know if I come out, I'm not gonna be able to play soccer. So what else am I gonna do then? And I think when I was in London, I just realized like there's just so much to this world, there's so many great things, and there's so much that I could, try to do. So I have to change something. So it's kind of just getting the courage then to tell my family. When I decided I was going to come out to my family, I decided that I was just going to be who I am and not pursue soccer anymore. I thought that was it. That didn't want to deal with coming out and being a puppet. I was really afraid to go back in the locker room and be in a stadium and be in that environment. At that point, I decided that, okay, my relationships, my family is more important to me than the sport that I play. I was so fearful of just get those words out to my family. It's been about a year, actually, since I told my sister on Skype when I was living in London, and what I did was, like, I have to talk to you. Like, I was talking her on Skype, and I was like, I'm gonna send you an email, I want you to read it, and I want you to call me back. So I sent her this long email. I don't even know if she read the whole thing, but she called me back in, like, 40 seconds a minute. It seemed like she didn't hang up. I wrote that, like, a few weeks before, and then to know, like, she was reading it at that time, and then when she called me back, I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, it's ringing. I was like, okay, like, this is it. My oldest sister, she's kind of like the alpha female in the family. We're very close, we'd talk all the time. Even when I was in Columbus, wherever I was, we'd talk all the time. I knew that she would be all right with it and that she would, like, kind of help me along the way. And that's exactly what she did. She was like, all right, well, what's next? Like, who do you want to tell next? How do you want to do it? Like, do you want to tell grandma and grandpa? Do you want to, all that stuff. So I just told her first because she is just a really strong character, and I knew that she would help me. I told my mom next. I was probably most afraid to tell my mom, so that was a good one to get over, to get past. But she actually made me cry because she was so supportive and just like, I don't care, I just love you so much, and I'd love if you could come home soon. Yeah, I'm sure she's kind of not struggled with it, but like, because again, she's a very devout Catholic, so she's like, okay, what does this mean? And after I came out to her, I'm sure the next few weeks she was like, okay, well, this kind of questions my beliefs.
My name is Brittany Griner. I play professional women's basketball, and I'm from Houston, Texas. 2 sisters, 1 brother. My dad was military, he was a Marine, and a cop my whole life, so very structured house. And then my mom, at-home mom, took care of me, made sure I was taken care of, and tried to keep me out of trouble. I was a big tomboy, so I was always outside doing everything from climbing trees to playing basketball, football. So I spent a lot of time, like, riding my bike, trying to do tricks and inline skating, skateboarding, giving my mom all the terrors of watching me fall. I started organized sports in 7th grade. I did soccer and volleyball 7th and 8th grade, and I did volleyball in 9th grade as well. And then basketball came in 9th grade, and I just stopped doing everything else and focused on basketball. I knew that I was going to just do basketball, honestly, when I started playing it. I mean, I always watched it on TV growing up, watched the Houston Comets, the team here in Houston that we had. I remember watching the NBA with my dad, but I never played it on an organized, setting until 9th grade, and then that's when I knew I was going to be a basketball player. 7th and 8th grade sucked kind of a little bit. I mean, I was trying to find myself, I guess, coming out a little bit. Everybody was suspecting, like, oh, is she gay, is she not? And then I always dressed like a boy, always did. The kids be like, ask me, like, are you a boy, are you a girl? And I'm like, I'm a girl, Last time I checked, I am, you know. And like they would come up to me and like touch my chest, like, oh, she has no chest, you know. So that sucked a lot, but you know, I dealt with it. I kind of acted out a little bit. Sports definitely was my escape. Just playing, being outside. I'm an outdoors girl, nature. I love being outdoors, so I mean, I would always just be outside playing, just hooping. I didn't really talk to anybody, honestly. I kept it to myself. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my parents or nobody. Kind of just kept it all in. I used to write a little bit when I was younger, write down my feelings, but I would always like ball it up and like throw it away. I didn't want anybody to like see it, or I didn't want my mom to find it and like read it. So like I would like ball it up and throw it away. Just becoming a teenager, you know, it's tough. Hormones crazy and just feeling awkward already as is. You know, getting like picked on and told you're a boy and you're weird for, you know, the way you dress and everything. It wasn't like I could just get in the car and go to the library and pull out some books. The internet was my best friend. Sneaking online and like just figuring out who am I, like I know I'm not alone, you know, just Googling articles about other kids and like I would see other kids, I'm not alone, I'm not the only one getting bullied for this. Kind of made me feel better knowing that I'm not the only one, like this is happening too.
I love writing. It's very therapeutic. You know, you learn things about yourself when you just start writing, and things kind of unravel, and you dig deeper and deeper, and you realize why you're certain ways or why you struggle with certain things. One of my friends told me I started writing, so I just was sitting in bed and I wrote, not thinking that I was going to post at the time, and I sat on my desktop for a while. But I just thought, okay, I'm not going to do anything until a bunch of people find out, and then people ask me, and then I'll make, you know, a statement. So I was sitting in my flat in London, and I was with some friends, and they're just like, you know, I told them about it and asked them what they thought I should do. They didn't think it was a big deal, and these guys, they're not soccer players. They don't really know what it means to be an openly gay athlete, I guess. I let them read the letter, and they're like, oh, this is really great, it's a really good letter. Maybe they just said that. But so I just I just sent it, and I think I posted like on my Facebook thing, and then closed my laptop, like turned off my phone, and just like went out with my friends, and then that was it. The next chapter. For the past 25 years, I've been afraid to show whom I really was because of fear. Fear that judgment and rejection would hold me back from my dreams and aspirations. Fear that my loved ones would be fathers for me if they knew my secret. Fear that my secret would get in the way of my dreams. Dreams of going to World Cup, dreams of the Olympics, dreams of making my family proud. What would life be without these dreams? Could I live a life without them? Life is only complete when your loved ones know you, when they know your true feelings, when they know who and how you love. Life is simple when your secret is gone. Gone is the pain that lurks in the stomach at work, the pain from avoiding questions, and at last the pain from hiding such a deep secret. Secrets can cause so much internal damage. People love to preach about honesty, how honesty is so plain and simple. Try explaining to your loved ones after 25 years you are gay. Try convincing yourself that your Creator has the most wonderful purpose for you, even though you were taught differently. I always thought I could hide the secret. Football was my escape, my purpose, my identity. Football hid my secret, gave me more joy than I could have ever imagined. I'll always be thankful for my career. I will remember Beijing, the MLS Cup, and most of all, my teammates. I will never forget the friends I have made along the way, the friends that supported me once they knew my secret. Now is my time to step away. It's time to discover myself away from football.
I told my mom in the 9th grade, I just told her, she was in her room, I was sitting on the stairs, there was like a wall in between us. I was like, hey Mom, I gotta tell you something. She was like, you know what? I was like, well, you know, my school was kind of known for having gay girls there. And I was like, you know what my school is known for a little bit, Mom? She was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, well, I'm one. I'm one of those. I'm gay too, Mom. And she was like, okay. And like, I just remember saying okay, like it wasn't nothing. Like I told her I got an A on my report card or something. You know, it was just like, okay. And she told me she kind of already knew. And I was like, oh, okay, well, so you were just waiting for me to tell you. She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, well, this was a good talk then. I'm gonna go play some video games. And that was it. Like, it was okay. And then, I mean, when I finally told, like, my sisters and my brother, and they all were like, we kind of already knew. My dad had a hard time with it a little bit, but he got over it, though. Picked up a ball, I mean, when I was a kid in the backyard, just playing with my dad, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't start playing, like, organized ball till 9th grade. And then it just kind of took off from there. Just playing all the time. I stopped playing all my other sports. I got an offer to go to college about, say, my junior year in high school. I committed early to Baylor University. It's in Waco, Texas. I didn't know this statement when I committed to go there. I found out once I was there. And when I found out, I was like, wow, so I can get kicked out for being openly gay, I guess, if they wanted to. Like, I could have. I mean, obviously, it didn't happen, though. When I was at Baylor, I said when I left and, you know, became pro that I wasn't gonna, like, hide it. I was just gonna come out and say it, and because I definitely want to work with, you know, the LGBT community, and you know, one day start up a, you know, a organization myself to help kids, and you know, you can't do that secretly. You can't be quiet about it. So when I came out, I was like, I knew I was gonna just say it. I've always been open about, you know, who I am and my sexuality, so it wasn't hard at all, you know, and if I can show that, you know, I'm out and I'm fine and, you know, everything's okay, then, you know, hopefully the younger generation will definitely feel the same way. I had people tell me, like, you know, you shouldn't have done that, and, you know, that's not a good look for you. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, that's who I am. I'm gonna be true to myself. So it definitely was, I guess, a relief. Feels like I'm being, you know, 100% with myself. I did it because, I mean, before me, I didn't know too many players that were out, like, and, you know, verbally said, you know, that they were, you know, gay. So I definitely wanted, you know, the younger kids to have somebody that they can look up to and see, you know, you can be who you are and still do great things. It's hard, but it does get better. I mean, I wouldn't be here today if it didn't get better. And, you know, no matter what anybody tells you or picks on you or say, you know, you're different, you're a freak, no, you're not. You are beautiful who you are. Being in the media, you know, you have that spotlight, you have that, you know, you have that voice. You might as well use it, you know, for something good. It was kind of mind-blowing a little bit. It still is, just how fast everything's going. I mean, I'm getting ready to go to China. It's just a different culture, a different, you know, way of life, and then just the basketball. I don't think I'm gonna stir up anything. You know, I'm not trying to go and stir up anything. I'm going, you know, the hoop, all the steering I'm gonna do back here in the States. But you know, if somebody wants to talk to me over there, about it, then, you know, I'm always open. I always have an open ear.
My name is Blake Skellup and I'm an Olympic short track speed skater and I represent New Zealand. I started speed skating at the age of 10 after I had broken my arm rollerblading down a hill with some friends in the school holidays. And I was also swimming at the same time and doing athletics at the same time, and I couldn't really do those with a broken arm. And I couldn't play rugby, obviously. So my brother suggested that I try speed skating because he had a friend that was a speed skater in Christchurch, and I sort of tried it and loved it and just kept doing it. But when it came to those macho sports, I was considered by my peers to not be as macho as they were through the sport that I did. And that in turn led to them applying to me that I was gay. I was being called gay before I even figured out and even knew what it was myself. And that's not what made me gay. Yes, I have always been gay, but for somehow my peers knew it before I did. And I don't think they really did. It's just that they, I guess, imposed the fact that I did this non-masculine sport, speed skating, which, let me tell you, is very masculine. It's very dangerous. I don't see many people losing 4 litres of blood playing rugby or breaking their ankle straight through the tib. Growing up in high school, being singled out as somebody who's different is never easy, and it's quite a sad situation for a lot of kids across the world in today's society. And for me, when I was that age, I was called faggot, homo, gay boy on a daily occurrence. And I was, I guess, in some ways lucky that I was never physically bullied, but more mentally bullied. But in my opinion, that is something that is a lot worse. Scars on the outside can heal, but scars on the inside definitely take a lot longer to overcome. It's quite a hard thing if you're young and you're in sports and you don't have anybody that you can relate to on any level because you just feel isolated and alone, and that's definitely how I felt. It was around the age of 16 when I guess started to realise that I was gay, and at the same time I was also heavily involved with my sport. And one thing for me that I found very hard is that I didn't have any role models, anybody that I could look up to who were out and openly participating in sport. And I guess the conclusion I came to in my own head is that you couldn't be an athlete, you couldn't make it to the Olympics, and you couldn't be gay. When I was 24, I had a boyfriend, I guess my first real serious boyfriend, and we'd been dating for 6 months, and I realised that it was something that I would like to remain in and something that I wanted to share with those people that I loved. And I wasn't ashamed of him, and it's something I needed to do. I wanted to be proud of the relationship we were in, and I definitely didn't want to, I guess, ignore his existence with me. And so he encouraged me to come out to my family, and I was here in Canada and my family were back in New Zealand, and I was chatting with my sister on Skype just through text, and I said to her that I had something to tell her, and she said, sure, what do you have to tell me? And I said that I'm gay, and she said, oh, well, that's great. And it wasn't a face-to-face conversation, it was just over a normal typing chat, and it was pretty easy. Once I came out, it was a massive weight off my shoulders, especially to my family, because they were the people I'd been hiding this to and I guess lying to for the longest time, and it was something that I didn't enjoy doing. I was excited to be in a relationship and I wanted to tell them about that, and I was very happy that I could finally do so. The reason I waited so long to come out, I guess, was fear of the unknown as to what my family was going to think of me. I actually thought that they were going to disown me, and I think where I got that from was just what had happened to other people I knew who were gay. Their parents didn't take it well, and they unfortunately chose to, I guess, not be accepting of who their son or daughter was. And for me, that's what I feared, and that is what led me to, I guess, coming out so late in life. When I was around the age of 14, 15, I was watching the Olympic Games that took place in Salt Lake City, and it was watching those that really gave me the inspiration to, I guess, go for my own Olympics. And I worked hard to try and qualify for the 2006 Games, which were in Italy, in Torino, and that didn't happen. So I went back to the drawing board and I trained even harder for Vancouver, and I qualified, and that was a huge achievement for me. In the months leading up to the Olympics in Vancouver in 2010, I'd had a conversation with my boyfriend about what was going to happen if I was asked in any interviews about my relationship status or anything like that. My good friend Lee had sent me an email asking if I knew of any gay athletes who wanted to share their story in a magazine called DNA in Australia. And I said no, but I said that I would definitely like to do it. And he said, wow, I wasn't sure you were ready for that. And I said, no, I'm definitely ready now. And so we wrote up a story, and he asked me some questions, and then it was in May that it came out in 2010, and that is how I guess I came out publicly. And for me, I was probably a little bit naive to think that it was only really going to remain in this magazine in Australia, but once it came out, it went worldwide, and that for me was overwhelming. The support I received from strangers from all different countries was so encouraging and so supportive, and it has definitely given me the strength to remain in my sport and to keep going. I decided to come out as something for myself and something for other people. As I've said, there weren't a lot of role models in sport 4 years ago. It's changed a lot over the last 4 years. We've seen a lot more people come out in some major high-profile sports, which has been fantastic. But for me, it was about the young people. As a young person, I struggled quite deeply, and I know a lot of other young people still struggle quite deeply with accepting themselves, whether they're in sport or not, just in daily life, at school and at home. And having been someone who, I guess, suffered in a big way and thought that there was no way out, I've come through it, and I know that there is a way out. And sharing my message is just something that I want people to know, is that you can be yourself, and it may be tough at this moment, but if you're strong enough and you can see a way out, there is definitely a way out.
So I have a love-hate relationship with soccer. You know, I love it because, you know, I've done it my whole life, and it's what brought me so much joy. And when I was on the field, you know, actually playing, you know, you forget about it, and you're judged for what you do on the field. But then also there's everything around football, the politics. There's the locker room that, when I was younger, before I came out, really hurt me. The stadiums where, especially in England, you hear the most homophobic things. You know, racist, homophobic, any of that stuff. And it's because of the things that I heard in locker rooms and things I heard in stadiums and things I heard in soccer fields. That's what really made me think that, okay, if I come out, I'm done with soccer. And I'm sure that's what a lot of athletes think, because of the things that they hear. It's not things that athletes make up. There's an actual fear there. A lot of people ask me, like, you should go back, and now you're still only 25. So at first I was just like, gosh, people want so much. Like, you come out to the public to kind of, you know, get some stuff off your chest, but it ends up helping people, and then now they want you to go back, and once you go back, they want you to do this and this, but eventually I felt like, okay, I can go back and, you know, help people, and I wouldn't have to necessarily talk as much as I could just kind of play soccer, and that would be a statement in itself. I kept my secret because I thought I couldn't be both a soccer player and, you know, a gay athlete. As crazy as I figured that out, that's not true. I decided I could do both. Well, I decided that I was gonna do both. I didn't know if I was, you know, gonna be accepted or what. But there was a few different things. After I came out publicly, there was just like thousands and thousands of emails I received from like people from all walks of life all around the world. Mostly gay, but a lot of straight people as well. People just like could relate to my story, people that were struggling in their own way. A lot of kids that were like, you know, I've been, you know, thinking a bit suicidal, and, you know, I read your letter, and, you know, I want to do this, this, and this now. And that wasn't my motivation at all, or my intentions. Like, for me, it was very selfish, and I just wanted to get that off my chest. So I was like, okay, I need to do this. So that was motivating. And then The first day I went back to Galaxy and I trained. I was like, okay, like, you know, I should do this. I still love it and I miss it. I think a lot of people's heroes play in these sports. So I'm hoping that, you know, more athletes will feel more comfortable to come out. I couldn't imagine now, like, ever going back to how it was before. I mean, that would be just miserable. So, again, I feel bad for people that, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because it took me so long, but I feel bad for people that still live that way. There's no wrong or right way of coming out, but for me, it was totally different. I was just like, no, I'm going to do this on my terms. Like, this is my life, and this is something that's very personal to me, so anything that I do, I'm going to do because I want to.
I think the real big part for me was in 2002. The Olympic Games were in Salt Lake City, and just watching those, I had already competed in my first Junior World Championships, and before that I was an amateur to the sport. You can, you know, be a competitor in your own country, and it's completely different once you leave, especially once you get onto that international scale. And watching those Olympic Games was sort of where the fire began. It was like, wow, that's somewhere where I want to go. That's something that I want to do, and that's what I've strived for ever since. I knew that I'd raced well and that I had a lot of points, and that was great. And I actually got off the ice, and my coach came up to me and he goes, hey, you qualified for the Olympics, and gave me a big hug. And I was like, yeah, I guess I have. And that was it. Once I remember getting the letter from the Olympic Committee via an email, and I was just like very excited, got a bit emotional. I was just like, it's real now, it's actually happening. It was sort of a lifelong dream to achieve that, and I had. And competing, I remember this wave, I guess, of nerves and emotion came over me, and I was just sitting there waiting, and then got on the ice, and it was sort of like, it was just this click, and it was game on. I told close friends, obviously, very early on, around age 18, and they've always been there for me, and that was fantastic. And my family was a different story. I was 23, and then shortly after came out publicly. And obviously when you come out publicly, anybody who you do know who didn't know, now they know. I don't think I was treated any differently, but I think people, I guess they finally knew who the real me was. And I think that was a good thing, not just for me, but for them as well, to see that there's this guy, Blake, he's a good speed skater, he's great at what he does, and he's also gay. Maybe they didn't know someone who was gay before, but now they do, and now they know a gay athlete. I'm definitely a better skater now, not just physically, but all round mentally. It's something that you obviously learn and you can grow as an athlete to become mentally stronger and physically stronger. And I've had some good results over the last few years, and the Olympic Games is obviously the time where you want to pull it out of the bag. I think once you get the taste of the Olympics, you get a bit drunk on it, and you want to taste it again.
This is what happens when gay rights supporters protest in Russia.
New law signed by Russia's president jails and fines people who express any support of equal rights for gays. Anyone who appears to be spreading, quote, propaganda of non-traditional sexual relations.
There's been a lot of international pressure on this, but Russia's sports minister said today that the country isn't bowing to it. They will not suspend anti-gay laws during the Olympics.
The only gay athlete known to be planning to compete in the Games. Skellerup is well aware of Russia's intolerance of gays and lesbians.
It's the Olympic Games, and yes, they are in Sochi, but they have not brought about this law. That law has come from the Russian government. And I want to compete in those Olympic Games for myself, for my country, and now I have this opportunity to, I guess, support a global LGBT community. We need to have that identity, and we need to have those, I guess, positive affirmations about who we are. And for me to do that during the Olympic Games is it's something that I'm very happy to do and very proud to do. These laws are something that don't sit very well with me, and I'm very, very happy to show my support for the people of Russia, that I'm there with them, and that my presence in Russia will hopefully encourage them to stand up and give them the strength to fight against this, because that's what needs to happen. I'm not going to go back into the closet in any way. I'm proud of who I am, and I think being an associate is a good thing, not just for me, but for this human rights movement. It's something that shouldn't be there. And the fact that it came into law in 2013, it's absurd. Yes, Sochi is about my competitive nature. It's about me competing as a speed skater, but on the other hand, it's about, I guess, standing up for what I believe in and being proud of that. The idea behind the pins is, it's, I guess, about showing a part of me that I'm very proud to be. It, in my mind, is no different to a cross or a cultural tattoo or anything else, or being, I guess, speaking about your religion. It's not something that you should be, I guess, condemned for in any way. And the pin is something that I can wear to show that I am proud of who I am, and also offer solidarity to the people of Russia. Your youth is supposed to be a fun and exciting time where you get to know who you are and really come into yourself. And I guess if you don't know about a part of who you are, what you're feeling, you can't identify with anybody. There's no information out there for you. All you're left there feeling is isolated and alone. I felt very isolated and alone as a teenager. I didn't have any information out there for me. I thought being gay and being in sports was something that was the most wrongful thing in the world. It took me a long time to come to terms with that and to realise that what I was thinking was wrong. And for me, I want to be my true self, and I want to encourage others to do so. And these laws in Russia, they're not doing that. For me, the Olympic Games have been an inspiration in my life. They have got me to where I am today. They've led me through some very dark times. They've always been that shining light. And I'd like that to continue for me, and I'd like other people to I guess, see that same inspiration. What I'd like to see is a change, and I guess if I'm that change, so be it. I think the reason why there are still a lot of athletes in the closet inside their sport is mainly probably the fear of the unknown.
Fear of not being able to play their sport anymore. Fear of rejection from their teammates, from fans, probably their families. Fear that the owners of the teams might not want a gay athlete.
Still today, I think people struggle to come out because of the situations they're in. They have team members to contend with, the administration to deal with, and that is something that is an external factor, and that's something that can jeopardise their position in their sport. And having to hide who you are is quite draining, especially when you're an athlete. And when you do hear those jibes, such as fag or queer, you take it personally, and it's upsetting for me because it's exactly the same situation that I was in. I took those words personally and I took them to heart, but I didn't need to. Gay wasn't something that I needed to be afraid of or ashamed of. It was something that I needed to be proud of, and that is something that they need to be proud of. They are who they are, and I think the earlier that you can embrace that, the better that is for you, and the better that you can become a stronger athlete, an athlete that has nothing on their shoulders.
Honestly, I mean, it definitely made me stronger about bullying me. I've definitely gotten a little bit tougher. I can take a lot now. I'm I'm excited about, just raising the awareness, and I think it should be talked about. I think it's not talked about enough, and even awareness with parents, like, they don't know how to look for signs, in their kids, like a change, like when they're depressed and down about something, and just pay attention to your kids. It might be tough, it might be, not what you want them to do, but don't try to control them, just be there for them, be that support net.
My level of comfort with my sexuality has definitely changed dramatically in the last 4 years. I think my upbringing and my time in high school made me a very strong and confident individual, because that's what I had to be to get through it. Being bullied isn't easy, and if you aren't properly equipped to deal with that, it can lead you into some dark places. But for me, I rose above it, and I knew that I was better than those people, and that is, I guess, what led me to have the strength to come out in the first place. But since then, I've just become more and more comfortable with who I am, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not going to apologise for who I am, and I'm definitely going to do my best to champion gay athletes in sport, because I know people who are in sport who are gay and who are afraid to be in their sport and be out, and for me that is something that no one should have to go through, and I want to do my best to, I guess, help them.
I think a lot of our society thinks that gay men aren't masculine. And I think sports are very, very masculine, and anything that isn't masculine doesn't fit into that place, it doesn't mesh well with that world. That's what people think. So people have these stereotypes that athletes are supposed to be a certain way, this. But it's just not true. We come from all walks of life, all different colors, different religions, different sexual orientation. There's probably tons of other gay athletes out there, just not out ones.
I think it's harder for men to come out because, they're always battling about who's the macho one. When you come out about your sexuality like that, I guess it's just a little bit different. On the women's side, I feel like it's a lot easier to come out. It's a little bit more accepting.
When it comes to sport, and definitely men in sport, it's where masculinity thrives, and there's still, unfortunately, that persona that gay men are slightly effeminate, and that is a sad situation because it's in no way the truth. Yes, some people who are gay are slightly effeminate, and that's not something to be ashamed of. I would personally say that I can be effeminate in so many ways, but I'm still very masculine. I'm still very capable of competing in sports and being a contender.
Any of those label stereotypes that people slap on different people, whether it be race or sex or sexual orientation or any of that stuff, I just want that to go away. So I know that probably won't happen in the near future, but hopefully in the near future, if athletes decide they want to come out. I'm not pressuring anyone, because it took me so long, so again, I don't want to be a hypocrite in that way, but it would be nice if some could come out and start to move things forward.
Don't ever be scared to be, who you are. It's not easy. I know it looks easy, especially for me, how I came out and everything. It looked easy, but it was hard. But, when you want to be who you are, you'll go through anything. The more people that keep doing that and keep fighting for change, the better, the world will be, honestly, when you have people that are brave enough to go through it.
I like to think, or hope to think, that my part in sharing my story is letting people see that there are gay people in sport, because there most definitely are, and people are still afraid to come out. And so I think with me sharing my story and being visible about it, it only adds an identity to the cause that is LGBT people in sport. It's about being visible and letting people know that we are here, we are in sports, and that we can play.